I want to do a vlog style video today, but it's going to have a more of a serious note to it because today is the 14th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. And I'd like to talk about that and where we are now as America's 14 years later. On September 11th, 2001, I was 13 years old um, in 8th grade, sitting in my language arts class. A teacher's aide came into the classroom and told the teacher that there was something on TV that we all needed to see. So she went over, plugged it in TV, turned it on, and every single station was covering the World Trade Center. And by the time that we had gotten to the broadcast, I had seen that the North Tower was already smoking slash on fire. And I had no idea what was going on. I didn't understand. I thought there might have been an explosion. Something might have legitimately caught on fire. I had no idea what was going on. And as I was watching this broadcast, I watched Flight 175 crash into the South Tower. Now, upon impact, something in my head, I knew that this was huge. This was something that was going to change our lives almost instantly. This was something that was going to change our future. And I was afraid because I felt powerless. And I couldn't understand why. And I know that now that there are countries out there that cannot stand America. I know there are. And at the time, I didn't quite grasp that concept yet. I didn't understand why anybody would do such a thing. It didn't make sense to me. But amongst the tragedy and the despair, something amazing happened. And that was when we called for heroes, they came in abundance in the form of police officers and firefighters and EMTs and even people on the street, and then later on our soldiers. And it was incredible because on that day we weren't divided by color. We weren't white, black, Asian, Hispanic. We weren't divided by religion. It didn't matter if you were Christian or Jewish or Buddhist or even an atheist for that matter. But we were still all bonded by this one thing. We all came together as Americans, not as individuals, but as Americans as a whole. And now I look at 14 years later, and it's almost the exact opposite. In that, instead of looking to our heroes for assistance, to call on them to help us, there's kind of things like in Texas, there's a deputy who's shot execution style just because he's a police officer. There's no other reason other than that. There's a firefighter in Michigan collecting for, I believe it's muscular dystrophy and the International Association of Firefighters. And a Michigan man just runs him down. They're not even entirely sure why. He just does. But meanwhile, 14 years ago, a bunch of strangers band together on a flight, Flight 93. They all band together, knowing good and well that there's a good chance they won't make it out. But still, they come together as a whole, as Americans, to take the terrorist out and bring the plane down before it can get to its destination, and bring it down into a field in Pennsylvania, 20 minutes away from Washington, D.C., in an attempt to save people. Even our own Pentagon wasn't safe that day. But here we are, 14 years later. My girlfriend, Reggae, was a soldier. And I didn't quite know what it was like to be a military wife. Because when I met her, I am a 6'3", 330-pound military wife. And when I met her, she introduced me to a brand new family. She introduced me to her Delta company. I got to meet so many incredible people, and I became friends with almost all of them. We hung out, we had great times, and they were wonderful people. And just to know that they had signed up to defend us no matter what happens, because God knows that when they signed up, they knew that they may have to go to a foreign land where they have to assume that everyone's out to get them, that everyone is out to kill them, not just harm them, not just maim them, to kill them. That was the ultimate goal, was to kill them. And it didn't matter from adults to children. You had to keep your eyes open, because it seemed like everyone was out to kill them. They don't want to leave their families behind. And they don't want their families to worry about them, but they still signed up to defend their country. And that was incredible. And I got to know them, and I got to hang out with them and hear their stories and hear their backgrounds and where they came from and what they hoped for. And I got to hear their dreams and aspirations. But then I saw things like, one time I had picked up my girlfriend from drill. She was in full uniform. We were just stopping by the Walmart real fast to get the final things for dinner that night. And as we're walking around, an elderly woman, probably in her 70s, maybe 80s, approached her and just spit on her. Just blatantly, out of nowhere, spit on her. And said, "I do not approve of this war, and I do not approve of what you do." And what I couldn't believe is that she had no reaction. It's like this had happened before, like she was used to this. And it crossed my mind that they don't agree with the war either. They're doing what they're told. They're doing their job. They're doing what they signed up for. Do they agree with it? No, but they have to do it. They don't like it either. It's not like the war was started because they got together and as a mass group vote, they're like, yeah, you know what, we're going to go blow some place up, put some feet on the ground, and see what we can get with that. That's not what they did. They're doing what they're told. That's their job. They're doing what they have to do to protect us, to keep us safe. And you spit on her for that. It didn't make any sense. One of her sergeants, he was the squad leader. He was going into, he was 1 week before his full active duty because he couldn't get a job, a civilian job, because it was right around the crash of 08, 09, right around that area. And he couldn't get a civilian job because there was no one hiring. We've all been there. We all knew that. We all had been in that situation. So he decided to go full duty. He had done it because he had a baby girl on the way. And he was able to get to know her for about a month. And then the 1 week before his active duty was to become finalized, the stress caused him to have a heart attack and die. He was going to be deployed to a hot zone. And it's a terrible thing because his daughter will never get to spend time with her father. But I digress. The point that I'm making is today, of all days, if it's only today or for only the rest of today, thank someone in uniform, a police officer, a firefighter, an EMT, a nurse, a doctor, a soldier. Thank them. Let's not be in a world where, let's not have where we spit on our soldiers, we shoot our police officers. Let's not have it where it's the popular thing is fuck the police. How about we not do that? Instead, why don't we thank them for the dangerous job that they do? How about we appreciate them for putting their lives on the line and taking that risk? Because there's a select few that can. There's a select few that will. And these people are the ones that will. And instead we treat them like they're the enemy, when instead they're the ones that standing between them and us. So instead, a few years ago, we went around to about 4 or 5 local firehouses and delivered them milk and cookies to show our appreciation. And they are really kind. They will take you in. They will show you around. They really appreciate it. And the fact that it happens so rarely, it surprises me to the point that when you hand them something like that, when you hand them the baked goods, the stuff that you brought them, they're surprised because they're not expecting it. When instead we should be treating them so well because of all the things that they're doing for us, all the risks that they take for us. So today, instead of being individuals, instead of all the racial tension, instead of all the us versus the authorities, fuck the authorities, instead let's be American today. Let's bond together as Americans today. Let's be friends today. Let's be an American family today. Because God knows there are enough people out there that want to destroy us for what we are. And instead of destroying each other for what we are, let's just all be Americans. Let's all be a family. Because, as the saying goes, united we stand and divided we fall. This is big country.
I am so high.